about the need or the feeling of needing to make sure that your YouTube videos and your YouTube content is perfect. And this, I want to break this down into essentially 2 steps, because this is a 2-sided thing. You have one side of a YouTube channel which should look professional from the get-go and should look very, very well done. And you have YouTubers who start out basically producing content as if they've been producing content for years. And a very good example of that is someone that we just recently worked with called Julian Olivari. And basically Julian is a tennis coach, and I'm not going to talk too much about the channel here, that's not what this is about. I'm just going to show you an example of what it looks like when you start out on YouTube, pretty much in a very, very professional manner. So as you can see, Julian's channel, which I'm going to put up on screen now, looks very, very nice and professional. Now, that's great, that's one way to do it, but that isn't the only way to do it. Like I said, you have 2 different styles of running a YouTube channel, in my opinion, and based on just what I've seen over the past 11 years of being a full-time YouTuber. And my wife and I run a media company, and we basically just focus and specialize on YouTube, in YouTube content and channel creation and channel management, channel optimization for our own channels. This is the big difference. I'm going to go off on a tangent, as I always do. There's a difference between helping people out on YouTube and being good at that, and sure, that's great, and I love that, and I know people who are very good at that. There's a difference between that versus doing it yourself. It's like, if you're a chef and you're teaching people how to cook, I want to know that you can actually cook that food yourself, and you cook it on a regular basis for yourself. It's very similar with people who teach YouTube. A lot of them, 90% of the people out there who are teaching YouTube are teaching YouTube because A, they have worked in an industry where they've helped people out, helped people grow on YouTube, which is awesome. Again, I'm not discrediting people there. And then the other half is, or the other side of that is people who have no business teaching people YouTube because they themselves haven't done anything to do with YouTube. They just started teaching people how to do something that they don't even know themselves. And a lot of people use AI to come up with scripts, and they make videos and it makes it seem like they know what they're talking about because it sounds good, but they actually have no real world practice. And then you have the other side of that, which is people who are just YouTubers who just so happen to also enjoy teaching people what they've done. And the same goes for business people. I'm going to listen to someone who's run a business, a very successful business, sold that business, and then teaches people how to do that, as opposed to someone who is teaching someone about business who's never even run their own business. Now again, take advice however you want to take it, but just be very cautious about the people you're taking advice from. And a general rule of thumb that I have found when it comes to YouTube is, if someone is saying things to do with YouTube and it sounds very confusing and it makes you feel like you have no idea what you're talking about, what you're doing when it comes to YouTube, those people don't know what they're talking about. If someone makes YouTube seem very, very hard and makes you doubt what you're doing, oh, you need to be doing this, this is why your channel isn't working, and they rattle off loads of different things, instead of just giving you honest feedback of this, it might be why it's not working, but this, people also do what you're doing and it works for them. If someone is making you feel stupid or making you feel like you have no idea what you're doing, a general rule of thumb is those people don't actually know what they're doing. They're trying to inflate their sense of knowledge so that you feel like you need to pay them or work with them to learn what you think you don't know. So just keep that in mind when you're taking advice from people on the internet about what to do with your own YouTube channel. But anyway, let's bring it back. And first things first, I'm going to quickly pause this video because A, I want to go grab a coffee, and B, I don't even know if this is actually recording the audio, because whenever I record on my phone, sometimes it goes through the car and sometimes it doesn't actually record the audio, and I watch it back and it's just me moving my lips and nothing's actually happening. So I'm going to quickly pause it now and I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, so good news, that was actually recording. So where was I? Essentially, like I was saying, if people are giving you advice, just be very, very careful about the type of advice you're receiving when it comes to YouTube. That's all I'm going to say. Now, I'm not saying you need to listen to me just because I've been doing it for 11 years and very much know what I'm talking about. My wife and I have just focused on YouTube, but we still don't know everything. YouTube's always changing. YouTube is constantly adapting. But let's bring it back. There are two styles of general kind of uploading when it comes to YouTube, and both of these styles work. You have the professional setting like Julian I just showed you, where sure, Julian is very hypocritical, not hypocritical, Julian is very critical of his own work, so he doesn't think that his stuff is professional, even though it is. And it looks great, it's, you know, it's well filmed, there's always room for improvement, there always is, but improving doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get more views, excuse me. Improving your quality, your editing, your camera angles, all these things doesn't necessarily equate to more views. So I just mean as a general professional look, you can see that Julian's YouTube channel looks good. It looks professional. There's no figuring out what works because it's pretty much already started working immediately. That's one style of running a YouTube channel, and that isn't the only style. And if that style doesn't work for you, then that style shouldn't be the style that you choose. Now, when it comes to like documentary filmmaking and that kind of space, the professional looking stuff, you kind of have to do that because you don't have as much time to figure out what is going to work and what isn't. Whereas you do have time to figure out what is going to work and what isn't going to work when you go for a more relaxed YouTube approach. Now, like I said, whether you go for the professional route where everything you upload pretty much looks great, or you go for the just uploading whatever the hell you want to upload, neither one of those is good or bad. They both have pros and cons. Like I said, the pros for having a professional looking channel is generally, if you get it all dialed in, you will probably see more immediate growth, plus it just looks nicer. But the downsides of that is A, it takes a lot more time, it takes a lot more effort to get it looking like that straight off the bat, because you're essentially, when you look at a channel like Julian's, for example, or any number of channels that start off like this, it looks like they've been doing it for a very long time, even though they're only just starting. And that's great, but it does take a lot more planning, a lot more time, and a lot more resources. And with that, like I said, there's less room for figuring out what can work for your channel because you're already kind of going in with a very laser focused professional look about it all. The other side of that, and you will know whether or not either one of these styles fit with you. No one can tell you do this, do that. If when I'm talking about a professional kind of look, if that feels, oh, that's the kind of channel I want to run, then no one can argue with you about that. You will know whether you want to run a professional looking channel or a more relaxed channel straight off the bat. That's not to say it's not going to change over time, because it will usually change over time. That's not to say that it won't change for you. It's just to say that you will know immediately what kind of style fits you better. Now, when it comes to the relaxed approach, which is not taking things too seriously, uploading kind of random content in a sense, and it not looking quite as professional, the pros to that are you have usually the entire year of uploading content. Like, for example, like Julian's channel and lots of other channels, when they go in with that professional look straight off the bat, which is great, there's less room for basically trying out what we call wildcard videos, which is when you upload something random just to try and see whether or not it's going to work and whether or not that is the direction your YouTube channel is going to go in. The amazing thing, and it doesn't mean you can't do that with a professional channel, but it just makes it a little bit trickier. The amazing thing about running a relaxed channel is you can throw in wildcard videos. It doesn't make a difference. You can just upload something random. Like, let's just say you're uploading, let's just say you start car YouTube channel, and then 1 week, you know, your channel just isn't really growing and whatnot. You can just throw in something completely random, like talking about boats or talking about painting or something to do with your working out or whatever it may be. You can just throw in something random, and we've seen this before, and then that video just randomly goes viral, or gets a ton of views, and then your channel just takes a different direction. You get that when you run a relaxed YouTube channel, when you don't have a rigid plan. Someone who has a YouTube channel that is just focused on one particular thing, whilst amazing, and again, there's no right or wrong in this, it's just what feels right for you. When you have that kind of strict structure in place, there's less room for you to be able to try different things. Now, the reason why I think a lot of people need to get clear on this, and a lot of people don't even think about this, they don't even think, what style of channel do I want to run? Do I want to run a very professional looking channel? Some people just think that's the only way to do it, and it's not. Some people think that you have to upload everything and it has to look perfect, and it just doesn't. There are so many YouTube channels that are very relaxed YouTube channels, and they do incredibly well. This particular YouTube channel that we're running now, this is going to start taking on a very much more relaxed vibe to it. And the reason for that is I find it a lot of effort to sit down at the studio and set the camera up and make sure the lighting is coming nice through the window and all that kind of stuff. That for me is a lot more effort. This channel, if you go back through some of the earlier videos, was looking a little bit more professional. And you know, like I said, there's levels to professionalism, obviously, but it was looking kind of professional, but it's just too much effort. The editing, as you'll see, was pretty professional, and it just requires too much time and effort. And it's not something that I want to do with this particular channel. And you know, my wife and I are very busy doing other things to do with our YouTube business, not this particular channel. So we just decided, well, this should just be a relaxed channel. It's so much easier to do. It feels so much more comfortable. So you will see exactly what I mean by the difference between a professional channel and a relaxed channel, because this particular video is recorded on my phone. I didn't even care about what time it was when I started recording this. I have a very loose idea of what I'm going to talk about, and the rest is just going off on a tangent. That's a relaxed YouTube channel. There's no script, there's no bullet points, there's nothing. You know, there's no making sure everything looks fine. It's just chuck the camera on and go. That's a relaxed style of video production and YouTube creation, and that is the style that this channel will take on. What a lot of people don't do, like I said, is they don't get clear with, and by the way, like I said, you can alternate, but it makes things so much easier when you just immediately get the foundations down of what you're going to do. This channel will pretty much, maybe eventually in like a year or so's time, maybe will take on a more professional look, but it probably won't. I'm just going to stick to the more relaxed vibes with it, and that gives me clarity when it comes to planning videos and what the direction of the channel I want it to take in, I want to take the channel in. So for you, and for what a lot of people don't do, is they don't get clear on how they're going to run their channel. Are they going to do it professionally? Are they going to make sure everything is lined up, everything's dialed in, everything is perfect? Or are they going to just take a relaxed approach with things? Like I said, neither of those are better than the other. They both work. And if anyone tells you just do the one because that's the only one that works, it's just not true. So when it comes to, like I was saying, with the relaxed side of the channel, you can kind of, and just for the record, it's probably 50-50 in terms of like the people we work with, of what we would advise them to do after speaking with them and after learning about the kind of things they do. Like, you'll speak to someone and you can immediately tell that they should be running a relaxed channel because they don't know how to video edit. They don't have any desire to learn how to video edit. They, you know, are maybe super busy, and the only time they can record is in the evenings, or when they're in the car, or whatever it may be, when they're doing things. Those kinds of people, immediately the recommendation is just to run a relaxed channel. It's always very interesting talking with people when they say, I don't have enough time to edit, and you ask them, well, what type of editing do you think you need to be doing? And they say, oh, well, I need to be making sure that my hooks are all dialed in. I need to be making sure that I'm capturing people's attention. I need to be making sure that everything looks professional and these cuts are all nice and the background music's all good and all those things. And we just say to them, we usually just send them a handful of channels and videos that get millions of views, that are the most basic style of video production imaginable. For example, this particular video will take maybe 20 to 30 minutes to edit and fully polish through and just watch it and make sure there's nothing out of place, and then it's ready to go. The thumbnail might take 10 minutes, 5 minutes, title 2 minutes, and it's done. If you don't have enough time to do that once per week, then you do. Every single person on this planet has enough time to make a video like I'm making now within their respected field in a relaxed manner. And sometimes just telling people they don't need to run a professional YouTube channel, and them hearing that from people who've been doing this for a very long time, that's all they need to hear. They just need someone who's done it to say, you don't need to put so many expectations on yourself and to make this harder than it needs to be. Now, don't get me wrong, there are certain types of people who are in certain types of professions who want to make content on YouTube where a more professional looking channel is needed and will accelerate their growth. And we will usually just tell them that it's going to accelerate your rate of growth. It isn't necessarily the only thing you need to do in order to see growth on your channel. You can run it as a relaxed channel, it just might not grow as much or as quickly, but it still has the potential to grow. So first things first, and the moral of the story for this video is, if you're just starting out on YouTube, you're thinking about starting out on YouTube, you're starting again on YouTube, or you're just not really seeing any growth, but you're putting a load of time into it, like editing, just coming up with content, putting out loads of content, just dial it back a bit. And, you know, remind yourself that it doesn't have to be professional all the time. There are lots of channels out there that grow very, very large, and they are very, very professional. They are very, very relaxed, and they don't put that much effort into their content. Having good content, and I see people talk about this all the time, and it drives me up the wall when people say good content gets good views. It's just not true. Good content, just because you make good videos, it does not mean you're going to get lots of views. There are so many videos out there that are so well produced and they don't get any views. No one finds them. And then there are really, really bad videos. I say bad, but there are just quick videos of people just doing random things and they get crazy views. There is no one size fits all when it comes to YouTube. It's called YouTube. It's all about you and the types of content you want to produce. So if someone is trying to push you in any particular direction, just know that the advice that they're giving you is not necessarily the best advice. And even the advice that I give people isn't necessarily the best advice at times, because it's very individual. So first things first, if you are starting out your channel, if you're, like I said, starting your channel again, if you're just seeing no growth, reassess whether or not you have your foundations down. And by foundations, I mean, are you running a professional looking channel and are you sticking to that? Or are you running a more relaxed channel? And are you running a particular channel that isn't aligned with you, in the sense of you're trying to make it look professional when it just doesn't need to be, and it's not in you to make it look like that. You don't have time to be doing the edits, it's stressing you out. Or are you running a very relaxed channel where you should probably focus a little bit more on the type of editing and the type of professionalism that you're putting into it? But just get very clear on what type of channel you want to run, and you will make your life so much easier. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Keep on creating. I'm gonna make, probably the next video that I do is gonna be about how important it is to stay consistent. And I know you know that, and I know everyone talks about that, but it's just so important. You know, if you can just learn one thing from this channel, let it be that you just have to be consistent, and you will pretty much outperform 90% of people who want to become YouTubers by just staying consistent. I'll talk more about that next time. So yeah, thanks for watching, and keep on creating. I'll see you next time.